In the industry, not what I do, but usually what happens is a real quick training session, probably a webinar, because other companies don't have people that are able to go in and actually apply the demo to what the business that they're in, to actually what they can use it for. And then they're on more of a reactive situation rather than a proactive. So they wait for problems to happen, and really getting a phone call back is really, if you're lucky, you might get one. But as long as you've signed that service subscription agreement, there's really not much service behind it. What I tend to do is bring that value in, where I go in and actually train the people for their particular jobs, what they're going to use it for. And then as I get to know their business better, I'm able to bring in other products that we launched that might apply to their business. And that actually would increase their return on investment, because now instead of finding out about products by logging into the website, I actually bring it to them when they can concentrate on their business. Well, usually they make phone calls in and to either an 800 number. If they do have a rep that was selling to the account, they either, it's potluck if they happen, if the guy's even still working there. Because usually if they're on, they're on phone pools, they're just making phone calls out in mass trying to get activations. And then when problems happen, they usually get the buck passed around until, I lived it. I worked for a large company for a while and left because of the fact of I couldn't even get service myself, and I was getting paid by them. So, and if a customer is actually paying a subscription, they got them for 3 years. So really it's up to them to answer the call whenever they feel like it, as opposed to being true to the actual word service when you sign that service subscription agreement. It almost doesn't exist. With poor service, what ends up happening is they stop using it. So they find out their hotspot, and the reason why they make that quick snap call of, I need GPS now because this guy ripped me off. I found out he ripped me off for 10 hours of overtime during this week. Or, I was filling up my gas tanks and filling up 4 guys behind them and taking the cash on my gas cards. Now, what ends up happening is they find the answer to that problem, and then it goes away like playing with a Christmas toy. You play with it for the first few weeks, and then all of a sudden it's gathering dust and it becomes like a phone bill. You just pay the bill. And that's when people go out and start looking for other vendors. They start looking for low-end providers because they're just not even using the system up to the full potential, so it becomes that commodity. Well, it's follow-through. I mean, because when during the sales process, when you're differentiating yourself from the other vendors, you're talking about service and how you implement and how you bring this to the business. So you have to follow that conversation through the sale to the implementation. And then usually what I do is I wait for the vehicles to get installed, a couple days of data, go in and give an overview training. And then a couple of days later, I'll go back in with more, with more in-depth questions to give them time to use the system. And then it'll either be a calendar tick where I'll stop in either on a quarterly basis, or if I'm in the area for something else and I have them on my map, I'll see them on my map when I plan my next day, and I'll stop in, as kind of an add-on to my day, just to make sure that everything's okay. But usually that the whole thing of not having somebody there in the field, you miss the fact that somebody leaves a position, or if there is a problem, by not following up. Some customers don't like to express pick up the phone every 10 seconds when they have a problem. Instead, you walk in there and you get basically chewed out. So you minimize that from happening by, being in there on a regular basis.